Good morning, guys. Welcome to 2.2, equation of a circle. We are going to do our warm-up first, and the warm-up says identify the shape and its labeled parts. So let's go ahead and get started. This is your warm-up for 2.2. Remember, everything is due on a Friday, okay? So, first off, let's label this picture. If you take a look, this whole thing right here, A is called a circle, okay? So basically we are talking about a parabola that is now closed up and forms a circle. Your B, all right, your B is from here all the way through from one end of the circle to the other end. That is called a diameter. Your C goes from this part right here to the edge of the circle. That is called a radius. Plural of that is radii. That means you have more than one. And your D, that's this point right here, is called the center. Okay? So these is going to be very important for us as we get into this unit. So here's your warm-up for 2.2. Please take a picture of that and make sure you submit. All right, our lesson for today is equation of a circle. So your goal, students will be able to calculate and graph the equation of a circle using their previous knowledge of the distance formula, okay? So we have done the parabola, and now we are going to touch on the circle, and you will probably have a test over this. And then you are going to do an ellipse and a hyperbola in the next part. So let's go ahead and start with our note. When an infinite cone is intersected by a plane, the resulting figure is called a conic section, as you can see. So here you have your plane, like a sheet of paper, okay? When you are cutting through a cone, you get all the different conic sections. So if you cut straight across, now if you guys watch football, you know how they say the tip of the football has to cross the plane in order to get the touchdown. So a plane is just like an imaginary piece of paper. So when it cuts across like this, we get a shape called a circle. When it's cut up and down, we get what's called an ellipse. Some of you may know that word as an oval. When it cuts at an angle like this, when the plane cuts the cone at an angle, this one we get a shape called a parabola, which you just learned. And then if you cut it at two places, you get what is called a hyperbola. Okay? So, all right. So we're going to first conic section, so we're going to learn all these four. You've already learned the parabola. Now we are going to learn all about a circle. So today we're going to learn to find an equation of a circle given the center and the radius. So if I have a circle, which my circle is perfect, no, just kidding. You have a center, okay, and you're going to have a radius. We're going to teach you how to find that equation. So that is what we're doing today. So here's the center, here's your radius. We're going to teach you how to find the equation. So before we start, let's learn some vocabulary terms. All right. I'll put my papers up. All right. A circle, the definition of a circle is a set of all points in a plane that lie at a fixed distance from a fixed point. So basically it's saying you have a center, okay, and it's going to lie at a fixed distance. This distance is is an r, your radius, and they're all going to be the same. And there you have your circle. So the distance at any point from the center is going to be the same. Basically, that's what it's saying a circle is. So you have all these little points, and all these are going to be the same, your radius. The center is a fixed point. Think of a tire. It's the center of your tire that allows it to rotate and spin. Because if your tire looked like this, that is not going to be a very comfortable ride. So you want a circle. If your tire looked like this, it would go bonk, bonk. it wouldn't be very comfortable, okay? So the center is the fixed point of the circle. And usually we label it with the letter C. The radius is the fixed distance from the center to the side. So from the center to the side, that is your radius. And it doesn't matter to which edge of the circle, all your radius is the same, from the center. All right. Think of you holding something, standing in one position, okay, like maybe a ribbon, and then you're spinning around, and you got your circle, just like that. All right. To find an equation of a circle, given the center and the radius, we're going to use the distance formula. So here's the formula for the distance formula. So if you guys remember this from way past, another way that you may see this also is, you may have seen it like this. Instead of x2 minus x1, this is just a name, okay? You may also see it x1 minus x2 square. Let me extend that on. Plus, you may also see it as y1 minus y2 square equals d. All right? You also may see it at other ways as well. So some of you may see it like this. It all comes from this right here. So you have a square plus b square is equal to c square. This is actually where it also comes from also. So for your a, you would have like a2 minus a1 square plus b2 minus b1 square is equal to c square. And to solve for c, all you do is you take a square root, and that's how you came up with that formula as well. So instead of using a and b, they end up using x and y because that's how we usually graph. So there you go. Okay, so this is where it comes from. It actually comes from the Pythagorean theorem, which is a triangle. And we can even go further into this, but for right now, this is the distance formula we're going to use. And it is derived from a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is your Pythagorean theorem. Okay? But this is the formula I need you to know. All right, here we go. So let's review a few things. Wow, that's awfully small. Let's see if we can make it bigger. There we go. All right, so let's review. To find the distance between two coordinates, you must first label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Then you're going to substitute them, which is mean replace, into the formula to solve. For example, so let's take a look at this example real quick. You will need a calculator unless you want to do all the work by hand. So let me get my calculator. Here we go. You want to find the distance between 2 points. So on a graph, so for example, if I had a graph right here, here's x, y, and I'm just going to estimate, okay, just show you the work, -3, 5. So we're going to call this one point A. We're going to call this one B. 6, 4. So if I want to know this distance right here, okay, what would you do to try to find that distance? Well, you're going to use the distance formula. So for a lot of students, it helps them to label. This is an x and this is a y. We're going to call this one x1. If this is x1, this is y1. It's never x1, y2, okay? We're going to call point B x2, y2. That means the ones here go together, your ordered pair, and the 2 right here goes together as an ordered pair. So what would you do to try to find the distance between point A and point B? How far is it going to be from Russellville to Little Rock? Basically is what you're trying to do. Straight line without all the curves and all that, okay? So we're going to plug it into this formula. So D, if I can get my pen to work, equals. All right. So there's your formula. This is the formula we're going to use right here. Remember that formula? That's the formula we're going to use right here, okay? So we're going to do x2. What's x2? 6 minus x1, -3 square plus, okay? y2, 4 minus y1, 5 square. Now make sure This line is long enough. And you can just type into your calculator. But what is a negative and a negative become right here? A positive. Okay? So we're going to type it in to find our distance. Here we go. Let me clear that. Square root is right here. See how it's right above a square? Because it's an inverse, and it's blue, so you have to push the blue. All right, here we go. Second, square. See how that comes up? Parentheses, 6 plus 3, square. Use this square button so that way you don't have to use the caret top. That only works for a square. Plus, parentheses, 4 minus 5, in parentheses, square, equals. All right. Oops, we got a decimal. Must be wrong. No, guys, you can have a decimal. It's okay. Round it to 2 decimal places. 9.06. Because here's your 5. To the right of it is a 5. If it's 5 or more, you round it to a 6. If this is 4 or less, you keep that 5. 2 decimal places. Okay. And that's all you had to do for example 1. So let's try example 2. You guys try example 2 real quick, and then we're going to go over it. Pause your film. Pause your video. Okay. Welcome back. So let's try this. We're going to label this one x1, y1, x2, y2. You do not have to do this if you know which one is which, okay? But we're just going to label to help you as a teaching purpose. D equals square root, parentheses, 5 minus 2 square plus 3 minus negative 1 square. All right. You can make that a plus because a negative and a negative is a positive. And we're going to type it in just like before. Square root, parentheses, 5 minus 2 square plus parentheses, 3 plus 1 square. And the distance from point A to point B is 5. So D is equal to 5. And please write the word 5 units. Okay? I should have done that up here as well. My fault. There you go. All right. Your turn. Pause. Try again. Okay, welcome back. Let's see if you guys got it right. We're going to label this one x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? Let's plug into the formula. D equals square root, parentheses, 0 minus negative 3 square plus negative 4 minus 2 square. And let's make this line long to cover it. Type in your calculator. You are more than welcome to make that a plus, which I am going to do. So that is not it. Let's get out of that. Square root. Here we go. Parentheses, 0 minus negative 3. Notice this is a minus, this is a negative. Okay? In parentheses, square plus parentheses, negative 4 minus 2. Negative minus. Notice the length. Square, enter. So your distance right there is 6.71 units. Okay? And how did I get 6.71? So here's my 0. To the right of it is an 8. Do you see how 8 is 5 or more? So the 0 rounds up 1. And that's how you get 6.71 units. So that's the length from A to B. So if you want to label it A and B, you're more than welcome to. Okay? All right. Now, we're doing the distance formula because we're trying to get you into the equation of a circle. All right, so here we go. So you have this center right here. You notice how I said this came from Pythagorean theorem? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. This is where it originally comes from. All right? So, excuse me. So let's take a look. Here is the equation of a circle. So this is x1. So if you really want to know where it comes from, it is x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square is equal to your D. this d squared. This is where it comes from, okay? So based on that, and how did we get a square root? Because opposite of a square is a square root, and that's how you solve for d. So here is your equation of a circle. Basically, this first 2 points, this h and your k right here, is going to be your center, and the distance from the center is your x and your y. So if I have a graph, x, y, okay? Your h and your k right here, your h and your k is going to be your center. Just kind of like it was the vertex of a parabola. The distance going out from the center is your radius. Okay, that's your radius. So your h and your k is the center, because that is also the same as x and y. That's all you really need to know regarding this part. But this is where it's coming from. It's right here, your x1, y1. That's your center. And the d, when you take a square root of it, is basically your radius, which is your c. So if you will remember the equation of a circle, it comes from the distance. And that equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. This is the formula, and it's derived from this. I just want you to know where it comes from. You don't have to like prove to me like you do in geometry where you have to prove. I just want you to know it came from the distance formula, which is derived from the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So let's use this formula for example 1. Here we go. Find the center. Now we can find the equation of a circle and graph it. Find the equation of a circle with a radius of 3, so your r is 3, and your center is 0, 0. So there's your h and your k. Okay? So how would you go about graphing this? Graph the center first. Then you count your radius. Pretty much is the easiest way to do it. To 4 different places. You're going to count to the left from the center, to the right, up, and down, and that'll form your circle. So your center is 0, 0. So I'm going to go to my center, which is called the origin, by the way. If you forgot what 0, 0 is, that's called the origin. From your center, your units is 3, so you can go 1, 2, 3. Put a dot. From the center, 1, 2, 3. Put a mark. From the center, go up, 1, 2, 3. Put a mark. From the center, go down, 1, 2, 3. And there you have your circle. Try to draw your circle as best as you can. Half the time, mine's look like a round out square, but try to make it pretty as you can, okay? And that's how you graph a circle. That's pretty much it. Make sure you know how to do it, because you got to write the equation from that as well. All right. Let's look at example 2. Okay? HK. Your radius is 5. So how would you go about graphing this one? Well, your center is at the origin. Your radius is 5, so I'm going to go out 5 from the center to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go 5 up from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go down from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there you have your circle. Hey, mine didn't look too bad. All right. Your turn. Okay? Oh, wait, example 3. Try this. What about when your center is not 0, 0, when it's not at the origin? What are you going to do? Well, let's see. All right. Find the equation. Oh, wait. You know what I forgot? Go back to your notes real quick. Go to example 1. I forgot something. What were we supposed to do? I did not follow. We are supposed to find the equation and then graph it. Oops, I forgot one thing. We got to go do what? We got to go find the equation. So what is our equation going to look like? Your center is 0, 0. So x minus 0 square, there's your h, plus y minus 0 square is equal to 3 square. Okay? There's your h, there's your k, and there's your r. Got it? Now we are going to simplify it. Please simplify. Here we go. X squared plus y squared is equal to 9. And there you have an equation of a circle. My apologies. Remember how I told you to always read the direction? Oops. All right, let's go to example 2. Let's write the equation there as well. Your center is 0, 0. Your radius is 5. So x minus 0 square plus y minus 0 square is equal to 5 square. Okay? There's your h, there's your k, there's your r. Let's simplify that because we shouldn't be writing zeros in there. So x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. And there's your equation of a circle. All right. Now we are back at example 3. My apologies. Okay? I guess I really should read. I tell you guys that all the time. We are to find the equation of a circle with the following center, and we also need to graph it. Even though it doesn't say so, we have a graph, might as well, right? Here's your h, here's your k, and your r is 5. All right. Now, the equation is always minus, minus. You see that right there? Anytime you got a minus in there, you're pretty much going to take the opposite. And I'll show you how to do that easily. All right. So let's go ahead and graph first. 4 and negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And something I forgot to do in all of these, I forgot to label. Make sure you label. Okay, go back and label all your graph. All right? And all you have to label is 5 and 5. That way you're telling me each of these little tick mark is by 1, increasing by 1. Because if you wrote a 50 there, each of these tick mark would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So make sure you label. All right. So we're graphing. Here's your center. Your radius is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Kind of looks almost like a Star Wars thing. Huh. There you go. And there's your circle. Now let's write our equation. You guys ready? X minus h square plus y minus negative 3 square is equal to 5 square. Notice how I just plug in my h and my k and your r. Now let's rewrite it to make it look pretty. Nothing there, so x minus 4 square plus y, what's a negative? Negative become a positive, and 5 square is 25. And there you have an equation of a circle. Not too bad, huh? All right. Example 4. Okay. Before I start, I am going to label my graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So let's find the equation with the following center. Here's your h, here's your k, and your radius is 2. So let's go ahead and write it first. X minus, there's your x value. Remember it's xy. X goes with h. Minus negative 5 square plus y minus 5 square equals to 2 square. See that? There's your x. There's your y. Now let's simplify it. X, what's a negative and negative become a positive? Plus y minus 5 square, and 2 square is a 4. And there's your equation of a circle. Let's go ahead and graph this one. Center is negative 5, positive 5, right there. Negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, positive 5. So there's my center. From your center, I'm going to go up 2, left 2, right 2, down 2. I'm going to make my mark, and there's my circle. Okay. example 5. Oh, look at Miss Bolingo throwing a square root. She has to be so mean, doesn't she? All right, so here we go. Here's your H, here's your K. I'm going to label my graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's all you have to do to label your graph. All right, here we go. X minus negative 1 square plus y minus 2 square equals the square root of 7 square. All right. Okay, let's rewrite this. X plus 1 square plus y minus 2 square equal. All right. This right here, so let me show you guys real quick, if I don't lose my pen. This is square root of 7 times the square root of 7. Anytime a square root times itself, this radical goes away because it looks like this. That cancels out. See how that cancels out? So the answer here is just 7. Okay. So when you square a square root, they're inverse of each other. You pretty much are canceling it out. All right. Let's go ahead and graph. Negative 1, positive 2. Your radius is the square root of 7. But Miss Blake, I don't know what the square root of 7 is. Okay, well, here's the square root of 7. Square root 7 is the same as 2.64. So your radius right here is the same as 2.6. Oh, so sorry. 2.65. Okay. So I'm going to try to graph from there 2.65. So 1, 2, a little bit more. To the left, 1, 2, a little bit more. Go up 1, 2, a little bit more. Go down 1, 2, a little bit lower. So it's not perfect, but who says decimals are not okay for math? Decimals and fractions and square roots are perfect for math. All right. Okay. And there you have your lesson. So remember, here's the equation of a circle. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And it is derived from a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And just remember that your h and your k is your center, and the r is your radius. Okay. You guys will do great. You have a quiz over 2.1. Have a great day.